And so this man named Levi comes across Jesus, and thinking that Jesus is only going to condemn him and call him out, use him as a sermon illustration for the type of people that God hates. Instead, he meets Jesus, and Jesus calls him to follow him. I think guys like Levi, originally people in Levi's position, feel contempt for Jesus, contempt for Christians. Again, we hate those who make us feel bad. We despise people who make us feel like we're not enough. And hey, if we reject God, if we reject them before they reject us, then we deprive God of the opportunity to reject me. But hating God doesn't always work. Hating God, hating others doesn't always work, because guilt and shame are natural parts of us that reveal that something is wrong or something's wrong with us. And you know what? If we're honest, we don't want to hate God. We don't want to hate others. Really, we don't want to be haters. What we want is love, not hate. If we feel far from God, if we feel judged and ashamed, and we have to work so hard to make ourselves feel like we're not, really what we want is understanding and compassion and love and grace. And that's exactly what Jesus brought to Levi. Jesus didn't tell him, oh, you're such a bad person. Oh, you're despicable. You're deplorable. You're a sinner. He didn't say anything like that. He knew it. Levi knew that. Jesus saw his sin. He doesn't condone it, but he recognized it with compassion. He saw Levi's whole life, being destroyed by sin, and Jesus wanted to set him free. Jesus saw that Levi's choices, so many of them were really trying to escape the consequences of his sin. Emptiness, isolation, shame, confusion. So learn from Jesus' interaction with Levi. Take this very personally. Jesus breaks through our self-defenses against God and against others with grace. Jesus deals with our shame and self-hatred with unconditional love. He called Levi into a new life. He said, follow me, be with me. He's basically saying God loves you and he wants to pardon you and grant you full acceptance and give you new life and new hope. Jesus doesn't condone Levi's behavior, how he mistreated people. Jesus just forgives it. He never ignores sin. He paid the price for it. He doesn't ever say sin is no big deal. It doesn't matter what you do. It does. But he then says, but you are so much more than this sin or this issue. And you are loved by God. You were created for him. And he sent me to give you new life. But you have to receive it. You can't just keep defending. You can't keep pushing me away. You have to receive it. And Levi received it. The next scene, Jesus is at a party that Levi threw, and Levi invited all his other tax collectors and sinful friends, and they're dining with Jesus, and the Pharisees saw and they hated it. But why does Levi throw a party? Because he met Jesus. For the first time in his life, he met Jesus and he felt God's love. He felt God's acceptance and God's approval. He's now changed. Shame no longer controlled him. His sin no longer defined him. He's walking with Jesus now in the assurance of God's love, in the assurance of God's forgiveness. He didn't need to extort people anymore to feel powerful. He didn't need to live opulently off of the excessive taxes that he stole from others just to cover the hurt. So he celebrates and he invites Jesus and all his friends. And Jesus is in the middle, mixing it up with them. And what you see is that all those who trusted Jesus, they didn't deny his holiness and they didn't deny their sinfulness, because when they were in his presence, they were very aware of his holiness. They were very aware of their sinfulness. But you know what? They never felt judged by him. They never felt condemned by him. They only felt honored. They felt loved. They felt understood. They felt accepted. And they felt that he had power over the sin that ruled them. And this gave them hope, and they wanted to follow him. May this be your heart too. May you see this in Jesus, and may you just receive his forgiveness, receive his invitation to bring you to the Father. And don't say, I haven't done anything wrong, or there's nothing wrong with this. He'll deal with that, but just allow him to reconcile you to the Father. He loves you. He sees you with compassion, and with eyes of love and eyes of grace, and the power to forgive and the power to heal.